Welcome to Live Weather Impact on WCNC Plus, our WCNC Charlotte streaming service. I'm meteorologist Brittany Van Voorhees, and we are going to be tracking a decent afternoon and evening for the rest of your Memorial Day. I hope you have enjoyed the day off if you had it, while remembering and honoring the reason that we're off in the first place. You can see sunshine peeking through the clouds, and that's kind of been a trend all throughout the day, as it hasn't been really rainy, but we haven't been really sunny either. Kind of a tale of two different situations, really depending on exactly where you were. Rainfall totals since midnight looking relatively impressive. You can see 0.83 here in Charlotte, a little bit lesser there up toward places in the mountains, and then a little bit further south you can see a few areas in Lancaster. Some of these numbers look to be a little bit off, and I'll try to adjust those later on. But overall, we've had a decent amount of rain in Charlotte over the last few days. I want to just show you, since Thursday, we've accumulated almost 2.5 inches of rain. This did increase because of our official data we just got from the Climate Center there at National Weather Service Greenville-Spartanburg. So in 2026 so far, we've only accumulated 4.6-ish. So that means if we've gotten 2.5 just in the last few days, that means almost half of this, or over half of it, has happened literally since Thursday. And a good chunk of this, if you remember, happened a few weeks ago when we had that rain event, of course, as we got closer to I just realized that this is probably only the month so far, not 2026. It was supposed to be 2026, but I believe 2026 we're at 9 inches. Either way, if this is even just the month, you can see there that 2.5 inches is more than half of what we've received over in a month just in the last few days. So a decent amount of rain overall, and this trend is going to continue over the next few days as we stay pretty humid and pretty muggy here in the Charlotte area, which means any rain and storms that do develop do have the opportunity to provide really heavy rain. Here's our current surface map setup. This front up here up to the north and west, that's the front that we had over the weekend that was keeping us locked in with the wedge. It eventually lifted northward, eroded, however you want to slice it and dice it, but as it did, those areas were able to shift into a warmer and moist pattern. That's why we had that rain and storms late last night that were unfortunately cut the NASCAR Coke 600 short. Now we did see them get through about 373 of their 400 laps, but still, I know some folks were disappointed that they didn't get through all of it. Again, all of this warm and moist air continues to pump in, continues to bring us opportunities for rain and storms. And if you haven't seen something yet, the second wave is on the way. So here we are right now in Charlotte. You can see areas of light rain here on the southern side of the city, light rain as well for these areas in York County over toward Chester County, but more storms are on the way. And because these storms are slow moving, I do want people to be aware of the risk of at least a low chance for some flash flooding. We have a thing called flash flood guidance, and this is put together between the National Weather Service and the USGS. And essentially, it's how much rain in this particular area within an hour could it take to have flash flooding. And normally this is small streams, small lakes rising quickly and allowing for kind of the water to overshoot the banks. And in this case, most of the Carolinas, that number sits between about 2 and 3 inches. So when you have one little storm sitting over an area for a long period of time, or it trains and kind of sits there and produces more rain, that can very quickly result in flooding. So I just want folks to be aware of that overnight, especially if you're south of the city or any of these storms up in the mountains. You can see a few lightning strikes with these here near Pinola, and that's again on the eastern side there of Avery County, and then some rain there on the northern side of Burke and Caldwell. So slow moving storms can result in flash flooding. Please be mindful of that, especially if you live in an elevated area like the mountains or even northern side of the foothills, or if you just know that you're in a low-lying area that's prone to flooding. You've had it almost every single time we've had a good rain event. This is you. These are the people that I'm talking to tonight. So just please be aware of that and use caution if necessary. Rain chances again are still on the relatively low side. We have a few storms popping up now. We'll still expect some areas of dry time with a few more storms developing into the overnight hours. Similar to last night, we could see rain lingering past midnight and even some pockets of heavy rain at that. By latter half of the morning though, I do expect us to briefly break up some of that rain, see some sunshine. Very similar forecast to today where the sunshine mixed in, and that provided enough fuel and moisture again for that secondary round, which is essentially what we're seeing right now. So rain overnight and into the morning, midday break, more storms in the afternoon. I don't anticipate as much rain on Wednesday or really into Thursday either, as overall the pattern does look slightly drier, even though we are still going to be very, very humid. So even if you see some dry times here, just know That doesn't mean that the humidity is going anywhere. Again, with that flash flooding risk, you can see western side of I-77. If I could redraw this myself, this does come from the Weather Prediction Center, I would probably draw it a little bit further east here just because Lancaster County got a lot of rain and so did western Chesterfield. And I would include all of our mountain and foothill communities in that medium risk. Not high, but at least medium with those overnight showers possible. Both Tuesday and Wednesday do look to be lesser with lesser rainfall potential overall. But just remember, any slow moving storm can very quickly cause flooding, whether it's today or the rest of the summertime. Now, we are expecting more accumulation of rain over the next few days. We did kind of, I would say, I don't want to say that we didn't get as much rain as expected, but we did we were one of the only places in Charlotte, let's say, that got as much rain as we expected. That 2.49 was not the case for everybody else. So just remember, when we look at some of these numbers, this is what we say, always guidance, not gospel. It's a general idea, right? 1 to 2 inches. That means some places could see 1 could see 2, some could see 1.25. In general, it's a trend. And in this case, we're trending between 1 and 2 inches in general. It does look to be heavier rain up toward the mountains, as that's where that front is lingering nearby. That could trigger more opportunities for storms for the mountains. But in general, everybody has a chance of an additional 1 to 2 over the next 7 days. Now, this is great. This means that we are still getting rain that will help with the drought. But just please remember that the drought does not start in a day, also means it doesn't go away in a day. We have to account for how much we're in a hole with the drought, similar to dead, but we also have to account for the daily rainfall accumulation. So what we're supposed to get day by day. That adds up very quickly, similar to if you were in dead, you would think about your daily expenses, right? And that can also accumulate very quickly if you're spending too much. And in this case, we're not trying to spend too much. It just so happens that we do have a daily rainfall accumulation that we have to match if we want to stay on track. So again, we're dealing with the daily rainfall accumulation we're supposed to have, plus with the current debt that we're in. So if you notice that a lot of these numbers don't change much week to week, that's the reason why, right? We're not seeing a lot of big drops in these numbers because we still need so much rain to get out of our current drought situation. So I would expect some improvement with next week's drought monitor, since that will include any rain that falls through tomorrow night. But again, overall, we're not going to be out of the drought anytime soon. In fact, it's more than likely that it's probably not going to happen until well past the fall. And that's just because more scattered storms, that's the pattern as we head into summer. And you can see this in our Jerry Hunt Super Center 7-day. Most of the time in the summer, you're not getting those big swaths of rain where it rains off and on, for days and days. It's this pattern, right? Spotty showers and thunderstorms where some people see a lot, some people don't see a lot. One thing I am watching into this weekend is I do expect more clouds to allow for a little bit more of a wedge to set up. We could keep temperatures only in the 70s. And then as we look ahead, 70s are actually going to dominate the first few days of June, which all of course happens next week. Stay safe, have a fantastic rest of your Memorial Day, and we'll be back on WCNC Plus with our Weather Impact Show with Brad starting tomorrow.